Stacy. Today I wanted to just show you what I'm working on and give you some inspiration for the day. I don't really have much else going on right now. So every year, well, most years, I make some baby ghosts for Halloween, and I don't know why this year they just look so cute. I decided to do hats on them and let their little tops stick out, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm liking it and making them kind of distressed little shirts. So I'm really happy with how they're turning out, and I'm hoping to get several more done, and these will be available very soon. But one of the things I was thinking about while I was making them is I have my next class coming up for the soft heart pattern that I sell and the doll. It's coming up on the 10th, so next Saturday, and there's still spaces in the class. I'm actually giving away a entry to someone and a friend if they tag their friend on Facebook. I'm going to draw a winner, I think I said on Tuesday. So I'll put a link to that if you're interested in attending the class for free. Supplies aren't included in that. It's just the class and the pattern, but it's a really good deal, and I'm hoping that it brings some joy. Right now, having these virtual meetups and classes, really, it's not the same as in-person classes. There's parts of it that's not as much fun as making those in-person connections, but it's definitely a nice alternative. And especially if you're not getting out a lot right now and seeing other people, it does give a little boost of that personal connection. So I'll put all the information below in the description and link to everything you need, but it's coming up very soon, and so I need to make sure everyone's signed up, because some of the options for the class is that I actually will sew the parts for you and send them to you in the mail. And then that way you do not have to have a sewing machine. You just get your parts and come to the class virtually on Zoom, and we go over stuffing and all of that. So it's great for beginners, and it's great for anyone without a sewing machine. I hope the lighting's okay today. I decided to try to use a light today because it's dark in here, and I can see that it's making some shadows. But I think my last video was quality wasn't great, so I'm trying to play around with stuff to make the quality better, so I hope it looks okay. So what I thought I would talk about today is some of my techniques and maybe even some of my favorite tools. I thought we'd just kind of wing it today and hang out, because one of the things that I hear a lot from people who buy my patterns or just in the doll making community is really wanting these concrete patterns and instructions. And so I thought I would tell you a little bit about how I got started making cloth dolls. When I started making cloth dolls, I did not buy a pattern. I learned completely from trial and error. So my first doll was a miniature cloth doll. I think she was about 5 or 6 inches. And the final doll that I was satisfied with was only after about, I don't know, several attempts. It's been a long time. I don't remember how many, but I would draw out a pattern, turn it into fabric, sew it, and oftentimes it didn't work. It didn't look good, or it didn't do what I wanted it to do. And so I would start again. And the process of designing a new doll like that can be frustrating and take a while, but once you have established patterns, for me now that I've had established patterns and I've done it so often, I usually know what's going to work and what's not going to work, or if I'm working on a pattern that I know works, it's more relaxing for me, because designing can be exhausting, as I said. But one of the things that you can do is alter patterns that you already know that works. So the point I'm getting to is you'll notice that these little ghosts, they are the same size as the soft heart. And so they really are just a modified soft heart pattern. And I thought, if we have time in the class that's coming up on the 10th, we'll talk more about this, how you can buy one pattern and alter it to make different characters or different features. Of course, always keep in mind if you're buying someone's pattern, even if you're altering it, you still need to follow their copyright information, because unless you're just getting ideas and creating an absolutely new pattern, you want to make sure you're respecting artists, because changing a pattern just slightly is still usually covered under copyright. So anyway, so what I did for these guys, so that I don't have to really create a whole new pattern, they have the same arms as the soft heart and basically the same head. The main thing is just putting on their little ghosty, I don't even know what you call that on ghosts, the little swirly ghost parts. So I thought I'd show you kind of how you can do that, or at least the way that I do it. So if you have your head pattern, the circle, the normal circle of your pattern, you can take a pen or a pencil, and this is how you would want to alter anything. And when you're starting with a head, typically you have a circle. So you could even do something where you're adding ears or pointy elf ears. You could add maybe horns. And so all you're going to do is take that circle and add to it. So normally I would trace the pattern, and then this is where you can add. So as I said, you can add ears, you can add maybe elf ears. So basically the thing you want to think about is that you first start out trying this. So let's say you're doing an elf, and so you say, okay, I like that, that looks good. You cut it out, sew it in fabric, and maybe the ear was not pointy enough, or it wasn't large enough. So that's where you would have to start over. So then you come back to your pattern and you maybe make it bigger. That's kind of how the process goes. And so same with the ghosts. Now the only thing we're really adding to the ghost is that swirly top. So you're just gonna draw your swirly top on, and that becomes your pattern. After doing this for some time and you kind of know what works, like I do with the ghosts, I actually freehand draw them right onto the fabric. I don't create a paper pattern for each ghost. I just draw basically the circle onto the fabric and then do the swirly part and go with it. So that brings me to one of my favorite tools, and that is the purple disappearing ink pen. So I learned a long time ago from, I think it was a teddy bear maker, that the way they did their patterns is they would draw it on and then actually sew on the line. So they didn't use seam allowance. And this made so much sense to me because I hate seam allowance. I'm never good at remembering that I have to leave a seam allowance or sewing that way. So I love to be able to draw a pattern and then sew right on the line and then cut it out. So that's the way I do my patterns also. So you sew it first and then cut it out. You don't cut it out and then sew it. And it makes it much easier. And with dolls like this, it's great. You don't need to do it the other way. So I'll draw their little swirlies just on my own. And same with the body. So the body top is basically the soft heart pattern. And then we've just drawn on their little tail type thing. So anyway, that is how I sort of alter patterns. And so I hope that gives you some inspiration. I thought I'd mention one other tool while we're on here that I really love for stuffing. So when you are stuffing your pieces, most people talk about using a chopstick or something like that, which never worked for me. It always slipped through and it didn't really grab the stuffing. But I've had this tool for many, many years. It's a clay sculpting tool, but it sort of has a little fork at the end, although it's not sharp. And it has been the best tool. It really pushes out corners, but it also is awesome with stuffing because it actually pushes the stuffing down and doesn't slide through like chopsticks and other things that a lot of people recommend. So I thought I would mention if you can find a sculpting tool like this. I've never actually looked to see if I can find another one. I think it came in a set that I had for clay sculpting. So anyway, I thought I would mention that one. And so that's about it. I just thought I would check in, as I said, with you guys and show you what I'm working on and remind you of the class. It's coming up October 10th. It's on a Saturday. I did change the class a little this time. It's going to be 3 hours. We didn't have quite enough time last time, as well as a video tutorial follow-up that you'll receive when you after you take the class, so that you can go back and watch everything again. So I hope you'll consider joining us, even if it's just for a fun day to hang out with doll friends. I will put my email below for all the details on pricing and options if you're interested, and I really hope to see you there. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye!